From the beginning, humanity has swept across the world using materials and resources to grow and prosper. But there is a delicate balance between overproduction and the conservation of our planet's environment. In order to sustain this balance, countries like the United States of America regulate industry to keep the Earth beautiful and bountiful. This is the story of my investigation into the effort to sustain the balance between humanity's progress and the protection of the natural world. My investigation takes place in a small coastal town in Massachusetts and is about its relationship with a large stone quarry that operates in close proximity to the community's only fresh bodies of water. Even though the relationship between the quarry and its surrounding environment on the scale of the entire planet is insignificant, it represents mankind's effort to sustain Earth's beauty while still advancing civilization.
I know that it's, they dig.
Well, I know that's a huge hole in the middle of somewhere.
Not too much about it. I mean, I lived here for several years, but I just know it's there.
I don't really know much about it. I remember when I was a Cub Scout, we went in there a couple times.
I don't really know that much about the quarry. I know they get rocks there. I think, are they building something there?
I know that people are worried about the pollution.
The quarry is approximately 200 feet deep and takes up 300 acres of land. It contains a certain type of rock that is valuable for construction projects. The quarry is surrounded by wetlands that drain into the quarry through cracks in the quarry walls. The water that seeps through the walls is stored in a collection pond at the bottom of the quarry. The water from the collection pond is then pumped to the holding lagoon. The fine particles in the water settle in the holding lagoon, and the water flows through a filtration berm into Foster's Pond. After hearing about how little the community knew about the quarry, and hearing the environmental concerns that the town residents have, I, along with my friend Brandon Poulin, decided to go down to Foster's Pond and the adjacent holding pond to test the water and see if the quarry is really hurting the surrounding environment.
Oh yeah, wow.
I am testing the outfall to Foster's Pond.
The actual stuff coming out.
And we are reading 6.8 for pH. Chlorine is at 0. Alkalinity is at either 40 or 80. And calcium is at about 450. The pH, alkalinity, and temperature were within the limits set by the discharge permit for the outfall. Nevertheless, our adventure was not fruitless. While there, we ran into John Picariello, a member of Swampscott's Earth Removal Advisory Committee, and a local resident who has taken a special interest in the quarry. He told us a little bit about the history of this wetland and how it has been damaged in the past.
And you said they also wanted to make this holding pond bigger.
I don't know that they can actually increase its circumference, the outside perimeter, because as you can see, it's nothing but poured cement. You have to understand that it wasn't the present owners or business operation that did this damage.
No.
It was the family, I believe it was the Cook family who owned the quarry at the time when they actually did it. The neighbors took them to court once they realized that the pond was being filled in, and the court action, I believe it was in 1965, the court decree stated that they couldn't use the property for any use whatsoever, and that they had to cease and desist from filling in with any more cement, and that they had to come up with a program to start recycling or do something else with it. So the land is virtually useless to them and to anyone else. I mean, it's been damaged forever.
The lack of environmental regulation in the past caused massive damage to the holding pond's surrounding environment. And after telling me about the past, John then told me about the present dangers that Foster's Pond is facing.
Well, I think it's a good possibility that the water that they're hitting in the quarry as they
Yeah.
drill to go down is affecting the pressure of the springs that are feeding this, so that you don't have that spring-fed flow anymore.
Yeah.
And we're only relying on what they are pumping into the holding pond to flow through here. The springs seem to have disappeared. Now, is that directly related to the amount of water that they're hitting in the quarry? Quite possible.
Could this be true? Could the operations of the quarry be damaging the natural flow of the spring water that feeds Foster's Pond? I contacted the current owners of the quarry, Aggregate Industries, and asked them that question.
My name is Scott Colby. I'm the Environmental and Estates Manager for the Northeast region of Aggregate Industries.
My name is Mike Hollow, and I'm the quarry supervisor here at the Swampscott Quarry and the PVD Quarry as well.
The quarry, being an artificial depression in the ground, obviously collects groundwater. But I will say that part of our process of having such a large catchment area, surface area, not only collects groundwater, it collects a lot of surface water runoff as well. We settle out all of the water we have in the base of the quarry so that all of the suspended solids that may get trapped in that water is settled out before it is pumped up to a holding pond before entering into Foster's Pond. I have no information that Foster's Pond is spring fed. I probably assume that it is groundwater fed. But all of the water that comes into the quarry, either from seepage from groundwater or surface water runoff or rainwater, is either used on the site for manufacturing purposes to control dust, or in the manufacturing of the cleaning and washing the stone, is pumped back up to the Foster's Pond area for a recharge, in essence, of the groundwater. So we keep that pump running every day of the year, and the water that does come into the quarry from the groundwater situation is returned to that same aquifer.
I was reassured by Aggregate that whatever water seeps into the quarry is pumped back into Foster's Pond, so that the wetland does not lose a source of water. Aggregate's commitment to protect the wetland above the quarry is not just a result of being a good neighbor, it is also a result of the current environmental laws, specifically the Federal Clean Water Act and the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act. These laws require Aggregate to maintain and monitor the quarry's discharge into the surrounding wetlands. The water flowing through the filter berm that separates the holding pond from Foster's Pond needs to be sampled by Aggregate on a regular basis. I met with John again at the holding pond to see if Aggregate is doing anything more to ensure the surrounding environment remains protected. He told me that Aggregate is planning to replace the pond's current filter berm with a brand new dam.
The main purpose is to take and increase the capacity so that the water will settle before it actually gets to a height where it can actually flow out.
Upon hearing about this new dam, I realized that I knew very little about what a stone quarry really does. So I decided to take a detour from my investigation of the pond and learn more about the past and present operations of this quarry.
Name is Ralph Dagnese, and I started working there November 20th, 1946. The first truck I had, what they gave me was a Mack chain drive 4-yard mixer. That's what I started. And I remember the number, Jesus, 23. Okay. There's only 2 of them they had there. And the guy that broke me in was Gene Pelletier. He broke me in on that. And from there, then I went on to, started getting the regular trucks, they call them a worm drive, you know, no more chain. Sterling, that's what it was. Sterling. That went to 6 yards. And then as the years went by, they were getting better trucks and all that, and then the mixers were getting bigger and bigger. And I think the last that I had would hold 12 yards, but you're over the limit. 11 was the capacity. I used to put in anywhere from a normal day, I would say maybe 60 hours a week, you know. But when things like the big dig, when that was going, oh my God, 7 days a week, 95 hours a week, it was unbelievable.
That's a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. But they would never pressure you, you know. They say, come in whenever you can. Because there's always somebody else who would step in your place. So they're dying to do it, you know. They're all over time.
Yeah.
Roughly, no. There used to be a slew of guys up there when I was working up there. God, I can remember. In the lunchroom there, like at noontime.
30, 40?
Oh, I would say that, yeah. Easy. Yeah. You know, they had all them guys working the quarry and in the plant and all that stuff. Yeah, I would say around 30 anyway, you know.
Now, how does the less regulated operations of the past compare to how the Swampscott Quarry works today?
Basically, with what happens here at the quarry is the driller and blaster might come in and he'll lay out a shot for us in a designated area that we have in the quarry with where we're actually mining on a daily basis, and we'll lay that shot down, and it can be anywhere from 25 to 50,000 tons of material that we'll shoot. And from there, with what we'll do is we'll load shot rock with the 992 face loader and load our quarry haul trucks, and the process will start there, and we'll deliver that material to the gyratory, which starts the first step in the crushing process of breaking the shot rock down to 8-inch minus. And we pull that material from a surge pile that runs to our secondary plant, which is our finished screening area in terms of the facility, where we're breaking stone down to 3/4 inch all the way down to dust.